So, everybody, welcome. Very excited to be here. It's not 3 a.m. for me, but it is 3 a.m. for Peter, and it's 5 a.m. for someone in Sydney. So we're going to get started to be conscious of everybody's time. And first off, let me just introduce our panel. For those who don't know, my name is Ilya. I'm a co-founder and chief product officer of TaxDome. So I'm the one who's always asking, why do you want this? How are you using this? I'm the one that's slightly annoying, but I do it with intention. I really want to understand what you're really trying to accomplish as a business owner, as a manager, as a person performing the task. So I really want to get down to it. But that's me, and I'll pass it over to Peter.
Perfect. Thank you. So my name is Peter. I'm the one who travels the whole time and meet up with you, and we have a lot of dinners. Currently, last night I had dinner with Japanese customers and the Japanese team, and I'm the chief revenue officer at TaxDome, so I'm responsible for the whole global business development. Russ, what about you?
Hi, I'm Russ Hoskins. I'm a CPA here in Orlando, Florida. I'm co-founder of Hoskins Quiros Osborne LaBeaume, and I'm excited to be here and share my experiences. Jamie.
Awesome. Hello, I am Jamie Gruol, and I am the co-founder and creator of Workflows for Tax Pros. We help small practices implement TaxDome and apply practical operations to the TaxDome tool. We've been doing this since 2021 and have had 4 years of amazing partnership with TaxDome and helping raise up small practices using this amazing automation tool.
Amazing. And the reason we have Russ and Jamie on here is that we don't just want to talk about the releases, which we'll talk about and so forth, but it's one thing when it comes from us because we're building this, we're obviously excited about it, but we want to have people that are, using this and see this across different varieties of firms, different use cases. It can bring practical application and practical knowledge to the discussion. So please, Jamie, Russ, please pipe in to everything. We want to hear from you, not just me, but all the attendees. They want to hear from you guys, how you're using it, what you think about it, and just possible applications that you guys see. So when we kind of tell you a little bit about TaxDome, if you don't know who we are, because obviously this is viewed by people that are both clients of TaxDome and those that aren't. For those who don't know, TaxDome is a practice management platform for tax, bookkeeper, accountants, and the broader accounting community. So we have over 10,000 firms using it, and they're using it to communicate with more than 3 million of their clients. So just to kind of give you the scale of TaxDome's breadth across the US and beyond. So we're in 25 countries, more than 25 countries. And we're very proud as a comprehensive platform that we were the winner in 2004, in this year's CPA Practice Advisors Reader's Choice Awards for comprehensive firm workflow solution. So any of you guys that are running a business, you need lots of different tools in order to run your business. And TaxDome is the comprehensive platform, the winner of the comprehensive platform across all the tools for that. So we're very proud of this.
We would have won it in 2004 too. So
yeah, there you go. So again, a little bit more. So some of these are from our annual report. Sneak peek. If you haven't read it, please look at it. And we're going to put the link in here as well. But we wanted to give you kind of an idea again of the inside of TaxDome, how we operate, or kind of the impact overall. And these are some of the numbers from 2023 of the impact that TaxDome has had on firms globally. And again, I really want to stress the comprehensive platform aspect of it, right? When you're running a business, there's all these operations and tools that you need. TaxDome puts them all together into one comprehensive platform. So let's get into the actual feature releases that we were talking about. So what we're going to cover is a broad range of releases that cover client experience, which we're super focused on, client management. So that's how your team works with clients, but on the firm side. Revenue operations, how your team gets paid, and firm management, which helps you, run the processes within your firm. We're going to talk about updates through there. And as always, we're going to have Q&A at the end. So Peter, actually, do you want to give a quick intro as to what this is and what they'll be seeing soon?
So in the last months, what we did is we did actually a big report, which we're going to be launching soon. And what we did is we asked 1,000 taxpayers about their experience working with their accounting firm. And it's a lot connected with the tools and the tech stack they use. And we have gathered a lot of information, which we kind of spoiling today at this webinar. And what they are saying is that 91%, so first of all, 99% of these taxpayers, of these clients, say that they want to have a technological reassurance from the accountants. And 91% want to have a easy to use digital tool. And that's where we focus on TaxDome, is on client experience. And you will see during the webinar that those features which we're going to announce are always impacting this kind of client experience, which makes you look better in front of your clients.
Awesome. Awesome. So we'll have a lot more about that report, but I guess a big thing that we wanted to highlight is that most reports are always asking people, what do you think, to the vendors? But here we actually went to your clients, to the real people that are working with you, to understand what they want, not what you think they want, because then you have a broken telephone, but to the actual clients themselves. So onto the first feature release that we're talking about is TaxDome AI. So Natalia, you can launch, excuse me. So yeah, launch away. So TaxDome AI. So in general, I believe that true AI is replacement of a workflow, right? And there's a difference between simply assisting you with something, right? So when you're writing happy and then Google email fills in birthday, you know, sure, that's nice and so forth, but that's not real. It's not replacing the workflow. It's not emailing your client happy birthday, responding for you. So in my opinion, true AI is something that replaces something that you would be doing before that you're not, that you no longer have to do, right? That a machine is replacing for you and doing it just as well or arguably better than you did before. That to me is what true AI is. And that's what we tried to do here with TaxDome AI, is by incorporating it into the AI, into the client experience. So what does that mean? That means that your clients probably get an email or go to their, they go to fidelity.com and they download their statement. Their statement from Fidelity is going to say 12345.pdf underscore blah, 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 blah. It's illegible. You have no idea what it is. And it's okay when you have one document coming in. But when you've got hundreds or even thousands of documents, someone on your team, what we found, often spends time spending and organizing this, tagging it, renaming it. This is a very arduous process. And actually, there's a poll right now. We'd love to hear how long this takes you. But what we've done here with TaxDome AI is we want to remove that entire process altogether. So that's the actual AIs. It's not a process that's slightly improved by suggesting it. It's just completely removed. And our goal is that you never receive a document that is mislabeled, but you receive a document that you can look at it and fully understand what it is. And you can filter by those type of documents because we've also added automatic tagging. So every W-2 is going to have a tag of W-2. Every 1099 is going to have that tag and so forth. So this has been in beta. We're still kind of optimizing it and so forth. But Jamie, Russ, curious from you guys, have you guys been using this? Is this something, what do you think of this and what the impact that you think this might have?
Yeah, I can speak to this. We actually just got off a call where we were talking about document management today and talking specifically about this feature. I have been playing with it myself and finding it very helpful. It is still learning, but as it's learning, it's definitely improving in its ability to tag and actually name the files accordingly. So it's what we were talking about in the group was how creating those work papers and being able to reorganize things quickly and then go in and make the final tweaks to the work paper packets, et cetera, without having to spend a lot of time going into each individual file and then create the work papers and organize them in the direction or in the order that they want them. So having this, even if it just named, the form number, helps a ton in speeding up that process.
Yeah,
and I'm kind of shocked. Sorry, Russ, to cut you off, but I'm kind of shocked by the results of the poll here. It's very interesting to see how much time people are spending on this.
Yeah. Oh, and actually, so Russ, right before we get to you, for those of you that haven't responded, please respond, because there's 2 questions in the poll, and one of them is literally, if you could wave a magic wand and have us do it, what would it be with regards to client experience? So we want to hear from you there as well. And Russ, can you let us know about your experience?
Yeah, I think that, one of the things we really like about it is the fact that it's going to give a little more consistency to the names of documents as well. And so we're definitely looking forward to being able to edit the document tags and also be able to add our own, hopefully, document tags down the road. So
that's actually going to be that's going to be added to beta within the next few weeks as well. So that's why this is still in beta, is that we're actually working on a full tagging system. So while it's in beta, we're working out improving the engine that actually tags it to get to an higher percentage of likelihood that that it tags it correctly. But on top of that, we're adding in a full tagging system so that, for example, a lot of people like to, know whether a document has been reviewed or not. So you'll be able to add those as well and have it, create your own tag of reviewed so that whenever your team does, input something into a system and so forth, you can mark it off as such and be able to see what you have done and what you haven't. So that'll be there as well.
Yeah, you may also want to mention, the images. Like
Images, yes. Go ahead, Peter.
No, that currently, PDF documents are possible to, to use the TaxDome AI, but we are training our machine right now to be able also to do images. So we will get there.
Yep. And speaking of the AI, obviously security is a big concern for everybody. So we wanted to highlight that it's never, your data is not used for the models, first off, and TaxDome is SOC 2 certified and works with OpenAI for this. So importantly, your data is not being used to train, and it's also not being sent over there. It's within all security protocols. All right. Next, wanted to talk about staying within the client experience. Wanted to talk about single sign-on. Jamie, what do you think about this? Because I have my opinions. Curious what you think. In my opinion, I use single sign-on whenever it's possible, and it avoids using passwords. So I'm curious what you think and what you've heard from firms.
Yeah, we had a lot of clients that were very excited about it. I mean, personally, I'm kind of like you, Ilya. The fewer passwords, the better. So to me, it's an efficiency maker. And a lot of our clients have reported that if they're using Google, that it just makes things even more streamlined for getting into the system and to your point, not having to remember extra passwords. So they've been really happy with it.
Awesome. And yeah, so this is both for firms and clients in terms of single sign-on. So for those of you that aren't familiar, the way single sign-on works is that if you are logged into Google, and we're also going to be adding in Microsoft, but if you have an account with either of those systems and you want to log into TaxDome, you don't have to have a password at all. You're able to just simply click login with Google, and it will pull in your information and use Google's security authentication to verify you. So it's one less password that you have to remember, and it's automatically logging you in. So in general, also from a security purpose, this is something that is recommended overall because you're adding in another layer of security on top of your additional security that you have, which is Google verifying if something is amiss. So strongly recommended here to do so. Next, wanted to talk about signing documents without login. So this is currently in beta, and it will be released in the very near future. But general idea is that your clients, just like if they were using DocuSign or Adobe Sign, they will not have to be signed into their portal in order to sign the document. And in addition, you're able to send a document request to any email, not just somebody that is even a user of TaxDome. So you can add in. You can say, hey, I want so-and-so who's a contact of mine to sign it. And I also want let's say their spouse to sign it, but their spouse doesn't even have to be a contact in TaxDome in order to do that. So this is currently in beta. And Russ, have you? Yeah.
Just one more thing. I pulled some data out for this, and it is actually from another electronic signature provider. And what they are saying is that 78% of their clients want to use the electronic signature without logging in, because then it takes them maximum 2 hours to execute this electronic signature, where if they have to log into their account and everything, it takes them much longer. So that's why we did this, because we want your clients to have a just much better experience and faster experience.
Yeah. And so a couple notes on this. It is firm by firm, so you can set this setting however you want. So actually, I'll give Jamie has been pushing for this. So if Jamie has we've been talking about this in the beta group, and Jamie has been a proponent that some firms they want to add the added security. They don't want the documents to be available without signing on. So my argument is that if you use DocuSign or if you use Adobe Sign or any of these other standard signature systems, they won't have to make an account. It'll open right from their email. Jamie and many taxpayers that she works with believe that they still want it behind the portal. So you have the option to do that. So in your firm settings, you can set whatever you prefer, whether or not you want to allow login to sign without login, or you don't. So you guys can have Jamie to thank for that, because she's been pushing on your behalf. So that is also part of this release, that you have the full control of how you do it.
Yeah, and I wanted to say I appreciate that because it is important that people have the options for adding these, extra security levels. WISPs are really heavy right now, and a lot of people have that top of mind. So being able to make sure that your client's personal identifying information is secure is definitely something to think about. So thank you to you guys for listening.
Russ, tell us a little bit about you. I know you have, a big firm.
I would kind of agree with Jamie. And for us, it's, we've pretty much now got all of our clients trained to go into the portal and they're used to it. And I kind of really want them going there, so if I start making it easy where they can do too many things without logging into the portal. But I do think there are going to be clients, there are going to be instances where we're going to want to toggle that on.
Yeah.
So,
right. I mean, I can tell you from my experience when I talk to our customers or to prospects also, they say, I feel a little bit insecure to use TaxDome, and introduce it to my clients because they're more older, I have more hybrid model and they may not adapt a new tool. Well,
yeah.
In this case, there's not so much they have to do inside the portal. For example, for electronic signatures, they can just do it through the email. So you even lower the barrier for them with this kind of feature.
Yeah.
On my end, I'm on the lower barrier camp simply because, like Peter said, they can't do anything other than so anyone that completes an action without logging in. So for example, paying an invoice, you can pay an invoice without logging in, but you can't access any of the other information in the portal. So the signature works the same exact way. And we're going to talk a little bit more about client requests in a little bit with the same function. But the idea is we do want to have more and more features that are available without being logged into the portal, because no matter what, it is still an area of friction, no matter how easy it is to use. So we want to add more and more ways to kind of get around that, while also being cognizant of a security and what they have access to, so which they won't.
May I call out just the security switch that they could make if they do want to utilize this? So in your tax prep software, the concern that we had is that many 8879s contain the client's social security number, including even some bank account information on the 8879, depending on the way your software is set up. So if you have tax prep software, you want to utilize this, please make sure you go into your prep software and produce an 8879 that has that information redacted from it so that it is protected. So it just shows the last four of their social, last four of their bank account, and do take advantage of that, because if they do click on that link, if they have their email, breached, they would have very sensitive information and be able to do things with it. So if you do want to use this, just take that into account.
Awesome. And thank you, Jamie. That's kind of perfect add into kind of how to balance the two of maintaining your security while also giving the clients the frictionless experience.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, so a few more kind of tidbits from this report. Again, why that we're going to release probably the next week or so. So I think this is key, is that your clients really, really want to know why they have to do something, right? Oftentimes we're living in our own world, but your clients want to know why. So the more you can do that, the better. And the other part that they want is that they do want the ability to use easy to use portals. So even of those that don't use a portal, which there are quite a few actually, 85% of those highlighted that they would prefer to use one. They're just not given one from their provider. So the TLDR of this is, I think that overall people are much more open and interested in technology than we think they are, and we'll have a lot more information on this soon. So I'm really, really excited.
Can I preach on this for a moment, Ilya?
Please.
I want to remind people that portals are used everywhere now. Your doctor's office, your veterinary office, your electricity provider, right? Like we all use portals every day. And if your clients are saying, I don't know how, there are some exceptions to this, but it is something that everyone is using everywhere. And so the old days of like not having that access and not understanding how it works are long gone for most of your clients. And I would just say the client experience that comes from having a portal, being able to automate your communications and give the clients exactly what they need when they need it is so powerful, because the front loading your clients for, say, tax preparation, that they're going to be so much more compliant when you break things down and are able to give them a thoughtful client experience, and technology will allow you to do that. So be thinking about how you can break things up for your clients and really bring them to success, and leverage the technology that they're already familiar with. And TaxDome's portal is so easy to use that We have people that are like, my 80-year-old clients are so much better at this than my like 45-year-old clients. Just they're finding that it's completely kind of flipped on its head what they were expecting. So don't be afraid to use it with your older clients even.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. All right, on to the next kind of big thing is client requests. So what are requests? Requests are very similar to organizers in that it allows you to ask your client a series, from one to many questions. But here are the key differences. First off is you don't have to have a template, so you can make them ad hoc, which is huge, right? So how often during when you're working on something, do you come up with, oh, I just need an answer to this, or this, or this? And this is the best way in order to do that and provide your client with a really easy way to provide that answer, right? So an organizer is best used for, onboarding or, long form, but mid-job when you're, working on something and you need to get a few clarifications, a request is really, really, really ideal for this. And a big thing that the requests allow you to do is, again, back to the same idea, is you can, at the bottom, you see how it says require sign in. You can send a request and your client will not have to sign in order to respond to it. So they'll receive the link in the email, and actually in your interface, you can copy the link if you want to send it in either SMS or whatever it is, however communication you utilize, you can resend them the link and they can access it and respond right there and then, super, super easily. So Russ, have you had a chance to play with this yet in the beta program? Is your team working on this?
Yes, and we see a lot of potential for it. Just where some of our clients unfortunately won't do the organizer, but we can get a few important items that we want to get from them with this, and really it's the same format of the organizer. So I think over time they'll get used to that format, and we'll convert more of those clients to doing the organizer.
Russ, Ilya, and you mentioned now, Ilya mentioned how it works. You said there are some cases where you would use it. Can you give us some use cases where you see this?
Yeah, well, sometimes it can be information that we need. So it can be things that we normally in the past might have emailed. So if we would have requested, say banking information for a direct deposit refund on their 1040. So that way we've got that information, they've keyed it, and they're not having to send it through email. So we're using it for just various simple requests, and because it's like the organizer, you can have questions or yes, no, or you can set it up various ways. So it's a pretty nice feature. So we're looking forward to also the templates on this. So when we're able to create templates, we think we'll use it quite a bit more than we are right now, where we have to kind of create it each one on its own.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say we just talked about this again in our community, and there's a lot of excitement for this. I do believe the templates will make things much faster, but we see this replacing the standard missing documents messages that we've been sending out with the task checklist enabled within the message itself. So I love that it's built into the automation. You can link the jobs, make sure that when you do link it to a job, it then, once it's completed and submitted by the client, we can have it auto move to the next stage where it will then trigger a task for a client, or excuse me, for a team member to then go and look at it. We're not having to monitor it to make sure that we got it back. So that's a huge time saver and benefit to using these requests and making sure that they're really simple for the team, but also for the client.
Jamie, on that point, let's take a step back a second. What you just described, you're talking to somebody that doesn't use automation. You're talking to somebody that hasn't set this up yet. Can you explain what you just did in more simple terms of how that works, the benefit of it, and examples of how that can be used?
Yeah, you bet. So I think that is the true power of TaxDome. And if you're not using the pipelines with automation yet, don't worry, you can get there. It is something that can be learned, but the power of the TaxDome automations is when you are building out your pipelines and you toggle on at the bottom, the little auto move button. What that does is it turns on the Autobots in the back end of TaxDome, and these become like literally your virtual assistant. And so as you add these automations and something gets linked to a job at a stage, so for example, I have a stage in my pipeline, it's right after I've reviewed the documents where I move my clients who are missing documents into. And in that stage, if I have a task to send, currently we would send out the request document. to the client with all of the items that we need to get from them still, I can link that to my job. And now my pipeline automations are going to watch for that request to be submitted by the client. And as soon as all of the automations, they're called triggerable automations, are completed, including tasks, this client request, if there's any other outstanding items that are there, there's a short list of them that are triggerable. The system will say, everything that I'm waiting to have done has been completed. I will now move my job in my pipeline to the next stage. And that automation is what is going to help you and your team work more efficiently. Because in that next stage of my pipeline, I can have an automated task go out to one of my team members that says, hey, we got information back from the client. Go and look at this request and make sure we're good to go, and then keep the job moving down the pipeline. But these automations are really what is the time saver for you in TaxDome. The pipelines are great for organizing, but the automations are what save you time.
Yeah.
So if you, just to put in practical terms, thank you, Jamie. If in that exact same scenario, if you weren't using this, or if you were using a different system to ask information and so forth, it would be somebody's job to go and see, did the person respond? Did the person respond? Did the person respond? Did the person respond? You're going to be doing this. And I'm sure this is probably what you did back in the day, right? Everybody did this. There's no other way to do it. And those of you that have your businesses for years, that's just how it was. And you probably even hired people whose whole job it was to do this, right? So many admins were just tracking this. You do not have to track this at all. As soon as the client, you ask the client a question, hey, I need these details, like what you see on the screen. If the client doesn't answer it, they're going to receive automated reminders that you don't have to remind them. It's just going to happen. As soon as they respond, if you have the auto move set up like what Jamie described, as soon as they click, here's all the answers, it's automatically going to give you a tap on the shoulder saying, hey, answers have been received. Go do what you need to do. So that entire process of checking in on the client and, hey, did you get this? Did you get this? Did you get this? Is completely erased. And that's really kind of the power of this. I mean, Russ, how long have can you tell us a little bit about your firm? I mean, you've got, I think, a team of 15, 20 people. How did you guys have this set up before, and how are you tracking this missing information and things like that now?
Well, before we would send out chats through TaxDome to, with a listing of any information that we would need. And so most of the time set up subtasks so we could kind of monitor as the client would upload that information. One of the things that I like about the client request feature is that you can attach the request with a chat. And so you can kind of still keep your same process in TaxDome, and the request can still be linked there. So we're using it hand in hand with the chats that we've kind of have our clients accustomed to. That's where we're going to be asking for information, and now this kind of gives us a little more customizable format than the chat.
Yeah.
And with that, actually, within the chat, you might actually be able to do this now, or you will be in the very near future. You might be able, you can send a short link of the chat of the request directly in the chat. I think that might also be there. I'm not sure if that's already released or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, exactly. So in the chat, they get a little, it's in the body of the chat, very similar. If you guys are using WhatsApp or any, iMessage or any of these other tools, it's extremely similar to that. So for your clients, it's a very expected experience, and they're able to respond to it really quickly. So on the higher level data side, we've actually had really great, the numbers for this are really, really, really good in the sense of how long does it take, what percentage of requests are responded to, and how long does it take to respond to a request? Both of these are a dramatic improvement. So from both what we see from a practical application, both from Jamie and Russ, and from what we see on a higher level, aggregate data, it's going to have a really, really, really big impact on you guys. So really excited for you guys to implement this. Yeah.
I want to just add one more little benefit to implementing automation. This is where our clients see increased client capacity without hiring. It is through the use of automations and not doing the manual follow-up that Ilya was talking about. When you can take your team and reassign them to actual client delivery, that is where you start being able to bring on more clients and have more capacity and increase your revenues. So investing into learning how automations work and setting them up so that you're taking full advantage of TaxDome has a massive ROI.
And so you'll notice the poll questions that we're asking, a lot of them is, we want to know forget our actual what we're presenting, because we're presenting, we've got a roadmap. I have in my mind a lot of things that I want to add and that we're going to be building over time. But we want to know if you could, if somebody gave you just a magic wand and said, make this happen, what's taking you time? What do you wish could happen? Please respond in the polls. We want to hear directly from you. Not forget requests within anything. We just want to know anything with regards to you communicating with clients. What could happen if you could go like this? We want to know that.
All right, let's move on.
They're very excited about requests. And finally, just requests are, because we've had questions are, okay, so when do I use requests? When do I use tasks? When do I use organizers? So these are a comprehensive suite of tools. So it's it's really similar to on our communication side. You've got SMS, you've got chat, you've got email. They all have their use cases. We give you a suite of tools to use them within your practice. So in my mind, requests are best used for ad hoc questions, right? So you're working on a job, you have a couple of things you need for the client to complete, you send them off quickly, they give them to you. Requests are the ideal use case for that, right? I need this document, I need you to complete one of these two things, you send that off, it's fast, it's easy. Organizers, I would use for long form. So intake forms, onboarding, things like that. That's what I would use an organizer for. And in my mind, a lot of the bookkeeping protocols, they should all move to requests because those are simpler there. So a lot of the bookkeeping workflows, in my mind, once we release the templates in the very near future, should be moved over to requests from organizers because I think it's a faster process and your client can complete them without logging in. And then finally, tasks. I think they're still great, but they're much more, I need you to do X. So especially something outside of TaxDome. So not upload a document. If you need them to upload a document, I would put that as a request because that can be linked to the upload itself. But if you need them to go and do something outside of TaxDome or complete some form or go get you a bank, something from a different system, I would still use tasks for that as well. Or if you're using it as a way to let me know when you're ready, then tasks are still great for that because you can have it as a way to push the, let me know when you're ready, and then they enter your workflow for the teams that are doing it in that way.
And on a bigger picture, like as Ilya mentioned, the communications, how customizable our workflows are, and now gathering the data. On the big picture, we know that every one of you have different processes and their own way how to work. And in TaxDome, we want to offer this variety so everyone feels at home and can adapt their processes within TaxDome to feel comfortable working inside TaxDome. So it's very important in a big picture how we approach those things as a company.
Awesome. Then want to come over to bulk CRM actions. So this is less of something you would be doing on a day-to-day. So it's less of a client management process, but I would say that this is more just internal firm setup. So for those of you that take a step back, TaxDome is a many-to-many system. What does that mean? It's just like the way Salesforce is set up, and it mirrors the actual real world, right? So you have clients. Those clients can be entities, they could be individuals, and each of those clients can be linked to multiple people, right? So you might have a family account, which you're working on, let's say a tax return for a family. You might have 2 spouses, or you might be working on, a partnership or a different entity, which might have X number of people linked to it. Now, that gives you a great amount of flexibility in terms of managing your setup. However, because of that, it does increase a little complexity in terms of the import process because you can link things to multiple entities. So what we've released here is the ability to bulk modify your contact setup. So for example, let's say you've imported your clients, but for example, you decided you didn't want to turn on the portal access right away. For whatever reason, you decided to turn that off. So during import, you didn't do it. Now you can bulk select and add portal access to all of your clients at once. Let's say you didn't set up, notify or email sync or any of those toggles. You can now modify this, with one click across many, many, many accounts. So again, if you're looking at this and you're like, what is this for? I'm not sure. Great, you've never had to deal with this. But if you are one of the people that's encountered this and say, oh, I imported one way, but now I want to modify it, you'll know what I'm talking about. Now you have the ability to modify it en masse.
For example, if you have VIP clients and you have a tag on your clients, and some of them you call them VIP, you can just very easily and fast do this, for example, for specific clients. Yeah. Russ, how would you use this? Do you have a use case?
I think we've up to this point, we're we've got most of our clients set up with portal access. So we would definitely go in and look at the, 5 to 8% clients that, aren't utilizing the portal and kind of see the, which ones those were. But for the most part, I think we have everybody, using the portal. We do use the notify bulk update for the notify. For whatever reason, sometimes a client gets toggled off, and I find it's pretty good housekeeping to periodically go to that bulk and find clients with notifications turned off and make sure that those are the clients you do indeed want notifications turned off on. And we tend to find 1 or 2 in there that we need to turn notifications back on. So
the most common use case for this is we've seen when people are first starting off, they're importing their clients and they might not understand what login access or notify means. So they just toggle them off even though they're on. And then that's the most common use case for this. So that's really, it's not something you would do on a daily basis. It's mostly a housekeeping thing that if you imported and, didn't want to do it at that time, you can now modify this. Okay. And then finally moving on to the payment side. So, just to give you guys, again, some context as to why this was done in there. So we've looked at some recent surveys. There are a lot of payment companies out there. And one of the big things that they talk about is that clients want options when making payments. And one of those options is being able to make partial payments, especially, depending on the demographic. This is why people really want they want to be able to get their cash flow in right away. So some people want to pay their payments in piecemeal. So as kind of a background why we did this, we've released partial payments. So if you send an invoice to a client for $100, $1,000, and so forth, previously they could only pay it in full. Now they can make payments of $50, $100, $200, whatever it is, every single time until it gets to fully paid. So your clients can apply any number of payment that they want. So this is on the client side. We've had some questions. Oh, can I do this on the firm side? You cannot do this on the firm side yet. We wanted to, introduce this for the client side primarily so that you can get the, dollars in the door. For the firm side, it's still full payment on this side, but we will be adding that as well. Alrighty, and obviously a question with regard to invoicing. If you could wave a magic wand, we want to know what that would be to make invoicing even better for you guys. And then on to our final update is with regards to time tracking. So time tracking is kind of a sticky subject because in the industry in general, there's a lot of movement away from billing for time. But the important thing is even if you don't bill for time, it's still helpful to track your time. Right, as a manager, you still want to know how long do your projects take? What is, how many resources do I need to allocate towards something? And there's a lot of data that supports that people don't do it well, and that at the same time they believe that if they did it better, this would create a better work experience within the firm and better productivity across the firm. So what we're releasing is the ability to do budgeting on your jobs and also time variance. So for each job, you can say, this should take 5 hours. This should take 10 hours. And then you can see how long it's actually taking and then compare the two to understand, okay, well, and then dig deeper, right? This is simply on a high level. It's taking long, but why is it taking long? That is, this is the input for you. I want to know the jobs that are taking long and then digging deeper. And at the same time, you want to find the jobs that are taking faster and then see, okay, what did we do right there that we can apply across the board, right? Especially when you're comparing your team. If one person does, a 1040 or a monthly bookkeeping in X hours and the other person takes 2X, you want to understand the difference between the two. And maybe you're better off having more employees like the first one and so forth. So within any business, this is really helpful. So just the way to think about it is this doesn't mean that your time tracking doesn't have to mean billing for time. You can bill for time, and in TaxDome, you can create invoices directly from time entries. But a lot of people want to be moving towards for team management, especially if you hire remote staff. This could be a really helpful tool across your team.
Let me try to give an example. So imagine now, most of your firm owners, and how do you feel when you finish the week and you feel like, did I do enough or didn't I do enough? And this kind of tracking and setting this time budget helps you to know, okay, this is what I'm planning to do. how far or how far above was I doing this the whole job. And for your employees, it's the same. You want to give them a success moment. Say, hey, Peter, you have to do this time, allocate for the task. The person does it before the budget, and everyone is happy. They think, hey, I did a good job. You're happy with the employee, and it just creates a positive work environment. So forget the billing part, if it's not important for you. But in this case, it's a very good tool to motivate and also, tell your people, your employees, that they're doing a good job.
I think another area that we see our clients looking for this type of information is, are they charging enough of their clients? So for things like bookkeeping, is the client expectation of hours we're going to spend on this true and real? And so by being able to track this and evaluate it, it helps them to keep control of a client who maybe is growing quickly and all of a sudden should be stepping up into the next tier, or maybe you brought them on and the scope was completely incorrect, or something happened there. So these types of details and data points are going to be so helpful to small and large practices. And depending, even if you just did this in there's a system out there called Clockwork. They recommend doing once or twice a month weeks where you actually do your time tracking so you can evaluate it. So maybe it's not all the time, but maybe just sometimes you do actual evaluations of the work that you're putting and the time you're spending. So just having this tool at your fingertips is huge.
Russ, what about you at your firm? Do you use any kind of time tracking? How are you is this, how do you think about it kind of as a partner? Oh, I think you're muted, Russ.
Russ, can you unmute?
Yeah.
About that. Yes, I was going to say that one of the things we like about the budget and the time is that when you're tracking your time in TaxDome and you can see both of those on the job card, the actual time as well as the budget, and I feel like it really is nice from a standpoint of setting your fees and then monitoring your progress. And so just having those two, linked together, we definitely, see the benefit of it.
Awesome. And then we're rolling out the job variance, but it's as a part of a broader rollout overall of getting towards full on capacity planning. So our team is, thank you to so many of you that have been doing calls with our team. We do a lot of research calls in terms of talking to you guys, making sure that we understand your needs, because everybody says one thing, but we want to understand the actual business needs behind it to make sure that we can build kind of an ideal process for you. So what is going to come soon is going to be the full on capacity planning, where you can see the full picture, be able to budget your time in the future, be able to see how much time is allocated for your team member, and be able to really plan your capacity across your firm much better. So this is what we're working on. And Natalia just shared, when you want to be notified as soon as this released, please put your name in the form, so you'll be notified as soon as this is released as well. Other thing, so this is already in beta. And this will be out, I believe, before the end of the year, but it's a role-based assignments. So right now, if you look, for those of you that don't have the beta, you can see the ability to be assigned people on the team members. But as we know, obviously you can have multiple people working within an account, and you want to know who's actually doing what, who's the bookkeeper, who's the admin, who's the tax preparer. If you're working on an entity, you might be doing multiple things. So this way you can create role-based assignments. But the real benefit of this, and probably Jamie could speak a lot to this, is the actual reduction in the amount of templates that you need, because you can have a task of, prepare books or, do tax return, instead of having one created for each person and creating tags of if this, then assign it to this person, if that, then assign it to this person. You can have one and just saying, assign it to the tax preparer. And then whoever is the tax preparer on that account will be assigned that task. So that's really the main goal of this, is the overall, you can accomplish all this today, but it requires more setup. It requires more templates. Our goal is to reduce. That's one of the feedbacks that we've gotten, is that it requires, yes, it's super flexible, but I have to have a lot of templates. So that's where we're going to optimize the automations so that you can have fewer and fewer templates, where it will look at who is the preparer, who's the bookkeeper, and these are all custom roles that you can create, and then assign that task or assign this to that person based off of the role that's there.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really fantastic improvement to the automations and being able to make sure that it's getting to the right person. We have come up with some ways of working around that, but you're right. It becomes very complex. And for the person just learning TaxDome, it can feel like a lot. I think this is very intuitive and will allow clarity in the support roles of each individual account as well. So you can make sure that you, as the owner manager, always know exactly who's working on what also.
Awesome. And then finally, we're about to get to the Q&A, but for those of you, if you haven't looked at our annual report, we'd love for you to read it. So just some background, private companies aren't forced to do this. No one required us to do this, but those of you that either are in the stock market or, obviously, accountants, you guys are, those of you that work on the public side are very well familiar with reports that companies are put out. We wanted to put out a report, even though we're a private company, to kind of explain, A, how we're doing, and more importantly, give you a window into our vision, our broader vision, not just on a feature basis, but really what we're trying to do here. And so you understand where we're going towards and seeing our commitment both to you and to your clients on a bigger picture. So there's a letter from myself and Victor, who's my brother and CEO, and a lot of the team and a lot of data as to kind of what our team is made up of, kind of how the process that we have set up. And I think that for those of you that are thinking about TaxDome, for me, this is kind of what I would think about is how, especially for the bigger firms, the companies that I'm looking at, how well set up are they in order to support me? Right. And the important thing to understand is there is a very big difference between running a team of 10, 20 people, 30 people, running a team of 50 people, 100 people, and 500 people. And those are all completely different skill sets. And those are all different departments. So on our end, we have an education department, we have an HR department, we have a customer support team, which is over 40 people. And those are, I think, important things when you're making these strategic decisions of who you want to partner with for the long term. And we talk about that in detail. So please read that, and we'd love to hear your feedback. And
Ilya is quite humble right now. show me a family-owned company, who is private, no investors. We listen to you guys the whole time and communicates these kind of things so transparent as we do. So there's not much companies like this out there. And we appreciate how you work, guys. How you all work with us together. And I just want to mention that there are not many companies like this out there, and we are very happy to be special like that and share all those informations with you, because it's important for us that you guys know what's happening inside TaxDome.
Yep, and also on a bigger picture level. We're not going anywhere. We're going to be here for a long time. We want you to see kind of where we are today, where we've been, and where we're going, because we have a very clear vision in mind. We've always been on that path, and we're going to continue to be there, including our very, very heavy R&D investments. So over the next 3 years, we're going to be investing over $75 million in R&D, because we believe that that's kind of that's why you guys are here. And we'd much rather we invest in the R&D instead of marketing dollars. So you guys being here and us doing these kind of more ad hoc reports versus us paying platforms, that's what allows us to invest into the actual product development, which is what you guys want and what you guys really benefit from. So we want to throw that shout out there. And then finally, we're here for the Q&A. So these are Peter and I's mugs. I think we're definitely much better looking in person. But we'd love to hear your guys' questions here as well. So I see there's a bunch have been answered.
Also Russell and Jamie, feel free also to answer some questions.
Please.
Yeah, I did see one question about where they can get the annual report, Ilya. I think it was emailed out. Is that correct? Or is on the website as well?
Natalia, please put it in the chat, the link to have the annual reports. We'll put this in the chat as well.
Yeah,
yes,
that'd be great.
It should be there. All right, I'm going to see if I can pull up the Q&A on my end, but if you guys see any questions that are relevant, please jump in. Okay, I've got it up. Can you guys still see my screen? I switched over to the Q&A side.
Yeah.
All right. How do we get the annual report? That's going to be put in here. How do I sign up for the beta? So we've decided to restrict the beta community to be a smaller community. And to be in the beta community, we want people that are going to be very active in providing the feedback for us, because the beta community actually has a dedicated Slack channel. So we're going to put the link there of how to sign up for it. But just keep in mind, if you are in the beta community, on the flip side, we expect that you will be very active in providing your feedback as to the beta features, you know, and how it's going and giving there. So the team will put the link in there as well. Stacy, thank you. Thank you so much. Stacy wrote, thank you for constantly listening. You're very welcome. And thank you for giving us that feedback and talking to us. Let's see, is partial payment function? It's already there. So your clients can make partial payments right now. They can do it there. So there's no issues there. Let's see. Do you have assistance in Spanish? We do. So we have a lot of people on the team that speak multiple languages. We support over.
Yo hablo español también.
There you go. There you go. There you go. So, and yeah, I can't help in Spanish, but we have many people that do.
There was a question. Sorry, I saw questions earlier, several of them around the release of the templates for the client requests. Do you have an ETA on that?
Yes, they're currently in development, optimistic early November, but definitely before the end of the year, you will have templates for proposals, templates for requests, and be able to add them as automation, to use those templates as automations as well. So you can create templates and use them as automations, including a couple of other improvements as well. So that should be early November optimistic, but definitely before the end of the year. Cool. Client request feature is live for everybody. So it's not just in beta. Client request is available to everybody. So please go and use it. Beta community, we're going to give the links to those as well, to the forum to complete, to join those.
I saw a couple questions. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Peter.
Jack asked for the bulk sim actions. Yes, they are available.
Bulk CRM actions.
Questions about documents, and I know Ilya, you had mentioned, I can't recall if you told me before we got started or during the call, but about images being converted that are PDFs being also readable in the near future. Do you want to talk about that a little?
Yes. So right now, Documents AI is trained on PDFs, but we're currently working on adding image support. So image support is both regular images, and a lot of PDFs are actually images that have been converted to PDF. So we're going to have support for both of those as well. That's currently in process. And then once those two are released, once we add that, that's when we're going to release the feature to the broader community, not just in the beta group. So as soon as we have image support, and that will also be released to the broader community, along with the tagging system that I mentioned. So tagging system plus image and PDF support, then it will be released to the broader community there. Okay. Is a lot of questions here. If you guys see something that is helpful, and I'm just clearing out some of the other stuff there. I saw somebody said I have a question for client facing status, but then they didn't give more. So whoever wrote that, please, we'd love to hear your question. Love to answer that.
That's a good question. What feature are you all most excited about? Ilya, what are you most excited about?
So I'm actually most excited about a feature that right now, client request. I think that's a huge thing. So I think that if you're, as soon as this comes out, I think and it's there now, I would definitely use this. That's there. A lot of the other features that we mentioned, they're more in the background, I would say, where they really improve the experience, but they're not something that you think about day to day, like the signature improvements or partial payments. Like you're not, those just happen in the background. Yeah.
Want to spoil something?
Spoil something? I'll do a little spoiler. Sure. There are in development features that are specific to bookkeepers, which will involve an integration of your client's GL into TaxDome. So that's going to be coming as well. So specifically for people that are bookkeepers working with your client's books in QuickBooks, you're going to have a direct integration of your client's GL into TaxDome. So that will be coming. So huge thing there.
Yeah, well, that's exciting.
So that will be coming, and when we're actually going to be at Intuit Connect in a couple of weeks. So if you guys are there, come by. We'll talk about it a little more in person there. Both Peter and myself will be there, amongst some others. So we're very excited about that. So I think that's going to be huge. And then actually, can you guys put in the link, Natalia, if you can put in the link to the waitlist for that feature as well. I believe the page is live, but I'm definitely really excited for that. I think that's going to be really, really huge. So very, very excited for that one.
I think I'm personally excited about a lot of the automation updates that you guys have coming, the various status updates and being able to trigger additional automations, being able to have those jobs that are in, say, extension stand out and look different on the pipeline. We're in beta testing that right now, and I think it's going to really help with continuing to make the organization of your tax season and the management of your clients during tax season so much more smooth for all team members, not just, you know, the tax preparers, but everyone that's trying to support. It's gonna be great.
So what Jamie's referring to, in the beta community, there's a couple of other features that are really, you know, for those of you that are really trying to, I won't go into it too much kind of detail. We'll talk about it kind of, it comes out, but you will be able to have really improved automation and workflow to have fewer stages and a clear understanding of what job is where, including the ability to put custom statuses such as missing information or on extension or anything else. And then as soon as the client provides you the information, the job can kick right back. So for example, through a request, the job can change from missing information, the status back to active for your team as well. So another improvement there, which will have fewer stages. So I'm really, really excited.
That's what we're most excited about. I think it'll.
Sorry to spill the beans, Ilya.
No, please. I mean, this is why we're here.
So it's a fantastic feature. It's
gonna be good.
Yeah, so that's currently, you know, that's going to be released likely first part of either towards the end of this year or first part of next year. But it's already in the beta community, and you guys are there. You're already playing with it.
Joshua, you asked for the firm overlap. Great point. We didn't mention it at the Q3 report feature release update.
That's a good highlight. That's a good highlight. We released a whole bunch of firm mobile app updates, but we decided not to mention it here because we honestly released a lot of things.
We had to select some topics, but I'm gonna post now for everyone the article for the firm mobile app and the updates, so you can see it in the chat.
Awesome. All right. Well, for those of the questions that we didn't get to, there's a lot of questions. We're gonna send everything out. Just be mindful of everybody's time. We're gonna send out an email with all the answers to the question, including the recording. It's gonna be everything there. And Joel, you know what? Actually, we never do this, but Joel, here, go ahead. You can ask a question if you're here. If you raised your hand. One final thing to kind of send us off. Otherwise, if it was a mishit, I think we're going to wrap up. But Joel, you have been unmuted if you're able to do it. Or Joel, excuse me. All right, well, forever hold your peace.
Missed out there. Opportunity.
Yeah. Well, everybody, thank you. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Russ. Thank you, Peter. This has been awesome. And again, these are just a few of the updates. We have many, many more, but we wanted to kind of talk about it in the webinar format. There's a lot more coming. Then a lot of the reasons that we're asking these questions from you is because we want to know what to prioritize, what's best to build. But we're very, very excited for the upcoming year. We're very excited for you guys to really be able to implement a lot of the things that we've been talking about and really improve have an amazing client experience for the tax season and beyond, and be able to really, feel comfortable in knowing that your team is equipped and isn't spending time on manual things, but is actually able to deliver value that presumably why you hired them to make your team run better. So thank you to everybody. Thank you, Natalia, and the people answering questions. And for everybody, like I said, you will receive an email with the recording and the Q&A. And I think we need to sign off because Peter needs to sleep. It's 5 a.m. in Japan.
4 a.m. All good.
4 a.m.
Thank you, everyone. It was nice to see you all.
Thank you. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.